We'll call the meeting to order. Russell couldn't be with us tonight, so it's me. Turn me up.
You're a little quiet.
Okay. All right, first thing, the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion and a vote to adopt?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next thing is public comment. And looks like we've got Lucy Dahl.
Surprise,
Oh.
surprise. Is that on? Real short, festival report is, Thomas Wolfe is over. It was a riot. 7 dogs got adopted from Yancey and Mitchell. I would have been happy if there was just one adoption, but I was happy to hear that it was 7. Excuse me. The raffle brought up $200, which was split between the rescue outfits. And we got 2 social media famous people, I guess. I don't know them, but Hallie Young's granddaughter, who was on a TV show, is apparently a big animal rescue advocate. And Ron and Minnie knew her, and Ron told her about it, and she pushed it. And she may come next year. And also the woman who started National Rescue Dog Day, which is May 20th every year, is also an author of children's books about how to treat animals, and she would like to come next year too. So we were very happy, and we appreciate the town's support and everybody who donated and who came. And the second festival thing, Literary Festival, is gearing up, and it's pretty incredible. And then there's Old Timey Fall Festival, September 30th, which I am retiring from after this year. I've had fun with it, but I'm also having fun doing a lot of other things now that I'm retired. And so if you know anybody who wants to run a festival that is practically runs itself, tell them to email me or call me. And the other thing was, I know you're all talking about tonight about advertising to rent Area C, and I will say again for probably the half-dozenth time that I hope that remains a community-centered event support business incubator thing, and not rented to a national chain of whatever's for whatever reason. And I also was going to write on there and promise I will never bring up single-use bottles again, but you can watch them in action at the ban on them at the Literary Festival this year. And it's possible, and I promise, I have witnesses, I won't mention it again. Thank you.
Jim Parlier or Jim Dahl? Which one is it?
Parlier.
Parlier?
You know, I still use Parlier, and I'd like to say thank you to the town council for the opportunity just to speak in front of you and in front of the town. I too would like to register my support for Area C as a business incubator that it was intended to be and had been voted to be. I'd like to point out at least 2 major success stories that have come out of Area C, one being the Yancey County Farmers Market. We let them use our space for various purposes, storage, and actually having a winter market for a month or so, and help them to grow. And look what has become of the Yancey County Farmers Market, in that we're now building a permanent building. It'll be a multi-use building, but the farmers market and that activity in Area C is largely responsible for that building and the job creation that goes with it. Not to mention the marketing of local produce and other products. And then truly a success story. Y'all know the young entrepreneur who renovated and modified Area C, installed a brewery, had a tasting room, and has mushroomed into one of the more successful businesses in the town of Burnsville that has brought a lot of jobs and a lot of income, and therefore a lot of taxes, I would hope, into the coffers of the town. We've been doing good things by having that as a business incubator, and I too would encourage us to do that as opposed to collecting mega rent from some big corporation. Let's keep it as it was intended, and it's doing good for our community and your town. Thanks.
Danny McIntosh.
Thought I was gonna get Jim 49 seconds there, and that thing reached that. I got three things I want to talk about tonight. But good evening, glad it was good to see y'all. First one is, I'm gonna go ahead and offer up my comment on the budget for public hearing, because I may not be here. I've got to see a man about a dog, is what we used to say. I've got to do that, but I'm planning on coming back, because I'd like to see the budget. I appreciate the work that's being done on it, and Leslie, especially your part, and Heather's, and I know Chad's been involved in it some, but it is pretty labor intensive, and all of you got your feel of that, I'm sure, this year. So I appreciate your hard work on that. And the second thing is, I don't know whether y'all know it or not, Katie Ledford is going to change jobs here just soon. She's going to be professor of criminal justice, and I'm probably not doing that title much justice, Katie, at Mars Hill University beginning in this fall semester.
Congratulations.
I'd like to congratulate her on that. I think it's worthy to know. And along the line maybe of Thomas Wolfe, I guess, is that our very own Todd Bailey showed up at the 43rd annual Thomas Wolfe Society meeting in Baltimore, Maryland over the weekend. And he gave a presentation there, and they did a lot of things. I don't know if you saw that on Facebook or not, but I was myself, I was glad to see that Todd had done that. That was quite a trip and quite a gathering. And they had a trivia Jeopardy Thomas Wolfe competition, and Todd smoked them. So we should congratulate Todd on that great effort. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
You're signed up for the budget hearings? Comments? So just, you're done?
Yeah, I've done that, but
Okay. Consideration of the minutes, we've got two sets. May the 4th is a regular, and the budget work session.
Motion to adopt.
I'll second.
All in favor? And we have a public hearing, the 2024 budget. So,
Okay,
Leslie to do the presentation.
first,
yep.
okay. Now we've evolved, have this nice slideshow.
On a bigger screen.
That's all right.
We'll get bigger.
Okay. Okay, so the highlights for both the general and the water sewer enterprise fund is, in this year's budget, there's a 3% COLA for all employees. Additional increase on employers' portion of the state retirement system. We've steadily seen it increase. I told Heather, it's almost doubled pretty much since I've been here. We increased our earnings on the interest income in both funds due to where we opened that NCCMT account, that trust account. And we continue to make contributions to OPEB to offset future retiree liabilities. And the combined budget for both funds is $5,125,948. Okay, the general fund, the revenues and expenses, the town's revenue projections are based on this year's, actually, this year that we're in right now till the end of June, the property tax collections rate and projections from the league and the Department of Revenue. Appropriations in the new budget contain the following highlights. The remainder of the funding for the Town Hall Lift project, you know, I've been carrying it for a couple of years, and it's in both the revenue and expense lines. New flooring for this room for the Town Center Auditorium, a new all-wheel drive police car, and there's a new line for special separation expenses for employees that's expected to retire in the near future. We have a couple of police officers that's close, so we just need to kind of prepare for that. Renovations for the public restrooms over near the chamber. And we have the mowing contract for the town facilities and the 19E bypass. Okay, and this is just the graph. This is the graph of revenues for the general fund.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like it.
Well, it's kind of, you know, this is the same thing that you'll see in your budget ordinance. It's on the front of that budget you've got laying there. It just breaks it out a different way. But that's the revenues. The next slide is by department. And that's it right there. We'll move on to the water and sewer enterprise. The town's water and sewer revenues are based on the current fiscal year's revenues collected and include a 3% increase on rates. The base rate right now for inside town is $46.98, and it'll go to $48.39. The outside is $93.66, and it'll go to $96.78. We're also adopting our annual rate and fee schedule in this budget, and it'll be included in that next one that I send out to you. Once we get you to sign the ordinance, we'll make a nice bound copy and put it in a book and send it out by the police to you. Rates are determined by recommendations from our capital improvement and asset management plan developed by engineers from McGill Associates. Differences in rates between inside and outside customer charges are demonstrated by the consumption graphs depicted below. It'll be at the end, but you'll see we talked to some girls from the School of Government who actually works on rates, and they looked at ours, and we'll show you. It's like you can tell the inside usage, the outside usage, the residential, then institutional, and the commercial, but we'll show it to you at the end. All right. Appropriations in the new budget contain the following highlights. New funded positions at the water plant and for the water and sewer maintenance crew. So we've got two. There is $132,499 between the water and sewer departments for necessary equipment and capital outlay projects. I should have moved the dollar around before I sent it out to everybody, so it'd been $132,500. It's like it annoyed me. An update of the CIP, AMIP, including a rate study, is in progress, and that is 100% grant funded, so it no cost to us. All right, the next one. All right, this is the water and sewer revenues. And the water billing, you'll see, is the biggest piece of the pie. The next one is the sewer, because we have more water users than sewer users. And this is expenses, and it's easy because there's not very much water, sewer, and the debt service is broken out in the ordinance, so we just broke that out in there too, in the East Yancey Sewer District. So, okay, this next slide is where we were talking about where the School of Government, where those ladies helped us. If you'll look, you can just look at the difference in it. The inside is the blue, the outside is the gray. Now, you'll see that most of the residential looks like to be inside. The commercial is the inside, on the sewer, then the water over on the right side here. Also looks like that it's about half on the inside is residential and half on the outside, and the commercial is a little bit more on the inside. The institutional is way less on the inside.
And industrial. is
In the
the
industrial,
largest-
yes.
Is the largest user, and those are all outside.
Yep.
Heather, I might be getting ahead of this. Will you speak a little bit to the House bill right here as to where that stands and what they're going to do?
It's partly the rules
Still,
committee
still,
I'm
still
watching
hanging.
it, so, I mean, we went ahead with, as we were adopting, tonight, these rates to do some detail and explain that given nobody, well, it's not passed as law, so nobody has any guidance as to whether, if it does pass, what information we're supposed to, but we talked with the Environmental Finance Center, actually, when I was in Chapel Hill for my other class, I went and met with them, and they put these numbers and graphs together based on our, information we've given them last year, when Elsa Marie came and did the presentation.
Because at that time, they were saying 5%.
Well, they were looking, their numbers as far as rate structures, they said 4 to 5%. Our CIP still says 3%, but as I said, it's being updated, so.
Okay.
But this is just showing consumption levels and user levels, so, you know, we have more users on small commercial and residential inside, but the bulk of the users for institutional and industrial are all outside. And then you'll see in the next graph where the consumption is being used the most. So that's your trend for consumption values. And then if you go to the next one, which is really shows, see, you can see right there, outside is taking most of our capacity, which would be reasoning behind, and Danny's left, we could ask him, the reasoning behind the rate differential and the premium, because people who are inside are required to be connected to our system by law. People on the outside are not, it's all voluntary. And obviously, a lot of our capacity is being routed to the outside. And that makes our coverage area and our maintenance area certainly be expanded as well.
That's it.
You all done?
I reckon so.
That was pretty good. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And public comment. I don't have anything.
Then you can close it.
Who's
I'll
doing
make a
that,
motion to
Josh?
close.
He's gone.
Yeah, I think all they want to do is thank everybody.
I certainly want to thank the staff. They did Leslie, of course, again, this is a heavy, heavy lift for her. This and auditor are the two things that, in addition to her everyday work that she has to do with AP and payroll, this is a big lift that lands on her shoulders. She does a really good job of getting all the department heads whipped into line, but they did a really good job this year, putting their budgets together. And so budget meetings with them went well, budget meetings with y'all, and Chad, of course, is the ultimate support person. We couldn't put all this together, and you guys would probably just be getting a couple of little sentences if it wasn't for his ability to put together presentations. So everybody worked real hard. It's a good budget, I think.
And we appreciate it. Okay.
Who's the second on that motion?
To close, who?
I did.
Deal.
Thank you.
Well, we hadn't closed it yet.
Yeah, Bill just closed it. Or you got a vote to close it.
I open, I think.
He opened.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I made a motion to close.
He made a motion, Randy made a motion to
Yeah,
close.
second.
Okay.
Sorry, thank you.
And everybody's in favor?
Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve the 23-24 Town of Burnsville budget.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye.
And I will make one comment. This does not, the new budget, the old budget year doesn't end till June 30th midnight. This one will start July 1. We're just adopting it ahead of time, but it becomes effective July 1. Like everybody else in the state. Except the state.
Except,
Except
yeah.
the state. My father on
After watching the budget in Washington for the last 2 weeks, I feel way better about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Presentations?
We don't have any tonight.
Okay. Managers update, Ms. Hockaday.
So project updates, the only thing I'm gonna hit on is the Azalea Lane project. Engineers conducted their pre-bid meeting, on Tuesday, 10 o'clock at Town Hall. We had 3 contractors attend that. We feel like we'll probably get 3 bids. The bid opening, is June 8th at 2 p.m. at Town Hall. So hopefully, once we get a contractor in place, we can move forward, and a contract in place, we can move forward with, the construction and fixing Azalea Lane. And that's really the only updates I have on any of the construction projects. This time, everything is still spinning around in DEQ, waiting for approvals, and I have signed a few permit applications, for some of the projects, but it's just sort of working through its normal engineering process. I have several resolutions every year. We need to recertify ourselves for raising the federal micro purchase threshold from 10,000 to the state levels. And you guys have a copy of that resolution. What that allows us to do is that when we're dealing with federal dollars, we're able to not have to use competitive bidding practices on anything under those amounts that are listed there. Instead of everything that costs $10,000, which everything costs at least $10,000, having to go through a long and laborious competitive bid process. So the federal regulations allow local governments to raise those limits. And I would need a motion to approve this resolution.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is the next thing on the list the interlocal agreement with the county? Okay, so the county had got their ARPA earmarked in the state budget a couple years ago, been working out details of projects that these will be county projects, but eventually the town, when they're completed, they'll be part of the town's water and sewer system. We will take over ownership, maintenance, and control of those things. All but the one at, well, we'll take over of the lines, whatever they put in out at the new industrial park. But they have gotten all of their estimates and preliminary estimates from engineers, and their applications ready to go into DEQ. The money is there, it's for them, but DEQ holds the money. It's the state agency it went to, so they have to make a request to fund it and tell them what it's for. So we have, Donnie and I have been working on this interlocal agreement between the town, the county, and the East Yancey Water and Sewer District, since that collection system and that treatment plant is going to get a big facelift as well with the county money. And we would ask that you all approve that today, then they will go over to the county to their meeting for their approval, and for the East Yancey Water and Sewer District Chairman's approval as well.
Excuse
Go
me.
ahead.
Go ahead.
The list of sites, and I asked Judy right at the start, we're talking about Orty Brown, we're talking How far up Charlie Brown?
To where Mountain View, Shane?
Oh, past the funeral home?
Yes, yes, it's gonna go on around and up to the intersection with Mountain View.
Yeah, because the terminology, the West Yancey thing told me, I thought they'd change locations instead of West Burnsville. I was like, wait a minute.
I think it ought to put West Yancey,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
Yancey. but-
West side of the county,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, and you're comfortable with?
I am. I mean, this is something that DEQ is going to require as the best we can get from the school of government. I've sat in on several Zooms with them, Randy, and honestly, DEQ is still trying to figure out what all they need. I expect them to send us a bunch of certifications at some point that says y'all have complied with all this. But there has to be an agreement between the parties when the money is spent on a project that is eventually going to be part of our system. Because this was money that was specifically earmarked for the county, not the town.
Are they gonna extend them deadlines? Because if all that comes down at one time, there's no way we can get all that done at one time.
Well, those projects will be county projects. They'll be county-led. The county will have to RFQ the engineering services and enter into the construction contracts and do all the bidding for that. Or the engineering company will. And they do have Corey Osborne with High Country Council of Government helping them on that. It has to be done. And I don't know, that's up to the United States Congress, whether they extend that deadline past December 31st of 2026. But we feel the issue's gonna be having the contractors. Are there enough contractors? Of course, supply chain is still funky.
Still out there.
Are we gonna be able to get all the materials for everything? But, you know, everybody has hope, so.
And probably the late.
Well, I just feel like with the amount, and I mean, we're sitting here talking about our funding, this is nationwide.
Sure.
If nationwide these projects are started, I don't see how, of course, this is talking about Washington again, but I don't see how they can just say, oh, well, now just give us back this money.
Yeah.
Don't do your project, you know.
We got the hold of it.
Yeah, yeah. But we're further along on the town projects a little bit. I think most of them have been approved with DEQ already. And we've had engineering in place for several months, and they have, most of them, I think all of them have already submitted their preliminary engineering reports, and DEQ's been approving those. So there were some questions on a couple of things they had, and there's been some back and forth, but we should be getting things pretty close to where bid packages will be done this year. So yeah, I just need a motion.
So this is pretty much what we met and decided at the meeting.
It is.
I'll
It
make
is.
that motion.
It is.
Second.
I think, and authorize, and if you could include in your motion, authorization of the mayor to sign
Yeah.
the interlocal agreement, and then we'll send 2 copies to the county for their chairman's signature. We'll get a original, they'll get an original. And my understanding from talking with the county manager, they'll be at their next meeting. They'll have it on their agenda. Okay, our contract with Water Quality Labs is up for renewal. They provide our ORC services on the sewer side, and our quality testing for both water and sewer. Their cost increased after 2 years of not increasing. Their costs have increased some, but we built that into the budget. It wasn't a huge increase. And mainly it's because testing prices have been, upped on them. They have to collect the samples every week and then send them to a testing facility, and they also have to order certain types of chemicals, am I right, Shane? For the sewer plant in particular. And they do all the reporting to the state for those things. So I have that agreement. Again, that's one that will start July 1st, but since we don't meet till after the 1st, we'd like to go ahead and get it approved, and it's got a date set to begin on July 1.
I need a motion
Motion.
on that one.
Motion.
I'll second.
And everybody's in favor?
The next thing is a resolution for the bonds that are required by state law for the tax collector and finance director each year. Those are just part of our insurance package with the league each year. They're through Travelers Insurance. Last year, the General Assembly increased the required bonding amount for finance officers to either 10% of your annual budget or $1 million, whichever is less. So Leslie's new bond is in the amount of $500,000 instead of, it used to just be left up to the board to make that decision, but I think some things that happened in a county, a few counties over, have opened some eyes down in Raleigh, and they want to make sure there's a little more protection there. She was approved easily with no questions or doubts for those amounts through underwriting. And so then the tax collector bond remains at $25,000. So they don't really handle any money. And then there is I talked with the league about bonding for just employees in general. And we may still have some further discussions about that, but we do have in place a employee theft and dishonesty policy with them for $50,000. So that would be anybody who was handling over $100 is covered there. So I just need a motion to approve issuing those bonds, and again, that will all take effect July 1 as well.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Aye.
Right.
All right, then finally on my report, I have a resolution for the Area C rental unit, Area C rental agreement with the Leonard Realty Group. These are local realtors, local people. They've been there for a couple of years. They've approached about renting, and we ran this notice that's required several months back. You have to run it 30 days before you pass a resolution that you will enter into the lease. The lease has been prepared. We obviously have not executed it, but Mr. Leonard has. So the rental rate will be $1,500 a month on that. And I think all that was in the paper notice that went out, or the notice in the paper.
And there was no interest from anyone? No, we haven't.
I mean, other than when UPS came and they wanted a
Right.
10-year with a 10-year extension and all parking and change everything. I think Crystal and the other ladies that work here, live here, had approached the mayor about wanting to continue in their space.
And that's about the increase we talked about last year before we tabled it, wasn't it?
Do what?
That's about the number we were at last year when we tabled it, and made it the same as it was.
It is.
Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Last thing I have is our tax report, and I'll be quiet. And I think did you guys get a copy of the tax report? Okay. We've had some larger accounts that were delinquent get paid. We have one medium range one that's still delinquent, and we have sent that to the foreclosure attorneys in Buncombe County to try to collect. So hopefully that one will come due, but still we've got a bigger chunk of the 2022, just in time for everybody to get their 2023. So we're moving along.
All righty. Department updates, Public Works, Shane Dale.
Well, thank you. Really, the only couple of things that I've got is the sidewalks project that we had, that you all talked about, a couple of meetings ago, I believe. One of those is done, the one over there next to Garden Deli, and the one over here next to New Ray is about halfway, and we've got one more to go. And the the other little update that I have would be the elevator project is finally off of the ground.
Going up.
Well, I wouldn't say it's going up yet, but it's getting there. It's getting, some electrical stuff moved out of the way, and they're finally getting started on it, so maybe that's gonna be something that actually gets finished before long. That's pretty much what I have.
All right. Finance, Ms. Leslie.
Okay,
You're up again.
here we go again. All right, so I have a budget amendment, you know, I always try to clean up some, so hopefully I don't get dinged with the audit. So this is just pretty much, you know, protection for myself, really, a lot of it. But, all right, there's the first page goes with the first page of this. And to me, this is just a little easier to follow. But this is all the general fund changes I want to make. Okay, has everybody found your place? Okay, the miscellaneous revenues, the $7,900 is the sale of the police department old F-150. And so I kind of tried to offset that by his auto maintenance and repair, but I'll show it to you when I get on down here. And then this second one under revenues is state citations of $9,000. I just need to increase that because, you know, I had to make it its own fund. The state citations that the police officers write that goes to the school board. I need to kick it up some because it's not budgeted high enough, so I'm kicking it up $9,000 more dollars. Okay, and so in that, our expenses that we're offsetting is down here. Full-time labor of $5,000, a health insurance match of $5,000. Some of these I just picked some big lines and just stuck it to there just to make sure my bottom line would be okay. Auto maintenance and repair, that's offsetting that out of that $7,900. Capital outlay, that's on the police car. He's getting the decals put on it, and it was running a little close, so I put the rest of that there. Vehicle fuel, we had to order some more gas. We were out and, you know, predicting the gas is like predicting the weather, except maybe a little harder. And then contracted garbage pickup, I just increased that a little bit because that's a standalone department. When Sharon looks at it, I just don't want to go over in that. All right, and this second part here is actually just a line item transfer. It's the fire department, the 10,531,7,400 capital outlay. I'm decreasing that, and I'm increasing his grant line because he had got a grant and was trying to spend it out so that it looks better. And then this down here, the 10,420,7,401, that was a general fund contribution. So that was an expenditure, so I'm just decreasing that to offset the difference in these things altogether. And then down here, this state citation school board, I have to increase that, the $9,000, to offset the revenue increase. I have to up it because it's one line. It's a one-line revenue and a one-line expense a whole fund that's just got the two. Yeah, and it's just coming in and going out, but I want to make sure there's enough money so I don't get in trouble. Then the second page is the water and sewer. And it looks a little smaller, if you'll look at that. And all I've done is increase the revenue of fund balance appropriation. And it's a lot, but it is the generator that Shane actually told you he was gonna purchase earlier. I mean, I think he got the quote in June. He got the quote unofficial, then in July, he actually got a real quote. And it's not supposed to be here until September, but Sharon says word that we've actually made, told them we were buying it in July, I have to count it in this year. So that is going for this line here, this capital outlay line is $71,218. And then he's just a little over on infrastructure supplies in the water fund and equipment maintenance and repair in the sewer fund. So I've increased the infrastructure supply by 15 and equipment maintenance and repair by 10. So the two of these together equal the 96, and it's the fund balance contribution. And I included a copy of the quote that he got for the generator attached.
So I need a motion to approve the budget amendment.
Yes, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Leslie.
You are very welcome, and I won't promise I won't talk again.
You taking a week off?
No, I was just thinking last year I was going on vacation after this was done, and I was going.
After all that, you need a week?
I know.
Oh, fire department, Niles.
Thank you. So you do have my call summary for the month. Just only highlight there is to that is there about a third of them were fire alarms. We have had a rash of fire alarm calls to the residential.
50 Woodland.
Residents of Woodland Hills and Hunter Run. So
Somebody can't cook a lick.
we go down there a lot. So, but that's what most of them are. We are at 189 calls for the year so far. The other thing I'd report on would be what Leslie referenced was the grant. We received a grant from the Office of State Fire Marshal State Fire Grant, matching grant 50/50. The state will provide about $19,000, which enabled us to purchase 4 new SCBA units with a bottle. Also, we got to purchase 4 new thermal imaging cameras. So that's the first new SCBA's we've had in a long time. So that's where that movement of money had to take place because we had to match that $19,000. So we're excited about getting those new things. It's always nice to get new toys. And that's all I have.
All right. Police department, Brian Buchanan.
Thank you, man. I passed out our activity log as well, our activity summary. The only real agenda item I have is the road closure consideration for the past bicycle event on the square. You know, we brought this up a bit back, and that process is we send out to DOT and we get approval by DOT, and once that comes through, you all pass an ordinance allowing us to close the road. This is a 3-hour closure on a Saturday morning. I believe it's Saturday morning after next for the kids to come out and do their bicycle event.
We've done this before,
Oh,
haven't we?
yeah, this is about the 4th, 5th year, something like that, they've done this. So I just need a motion on that ordinance to close, to pass that.
Did I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
We're all in favor.
Thank you. That's all I really have, police department wise, unless someone has something else, I'll move on. And as far as zoning code enforcement, we have been busy with a lot of mechanical permits, mostly due to the Woodland Hills renovation. I think we're up to, in my numbering system, about 100 permits issued just for that. Most of them are that project, not all of them, but most of them are that project. So a lot of paperwork and that type of thing, but we've not had too many big projects come through. We won't have another planning board meeting until July, I believe. Is that correct, Chad?
Yes.
In July.
Yep.
And that's really all I have.
Okay, thank you. Town Center, Corbin?
Yes. Didn't get to see you guys in April, but with April, we had 30 events, which was 5 more than last year. And in May, we had 26, which was 3 more than last year. It was very busy. It was all happened right at once, and we made it through it. But I don't have anything other than that we're staying very busy.
Okay, thank you. Council member reports. Anybody have a report, Bill? You did.
In the meeting, the ABC store, we had taken the plans and shaved off about $100,000 to make it reasonable to do. So we had to submit that to the architect, and then when it comes back, which it may have already been, they're gonna give it to the bank. That's what they require. And High Country, there's mostly budget talk about that. That was about as far as that was. They were bragging about their interest as well.
Does anybody else have anything? No?
I guess kind of the farmer's market's growing, and They've got that building up and they put a new sidewalk in front of it. Was that your guys or something? Yeah, so that's coming along well. But it's gonna be busy right there on that corner.
It is, it
And
is.
we might have to revisit some lighting or crosswalks or something right there, cause it's gonna be dangerous. Yeah, it's gonna be dangerous getting in the road.
Advisory boards. Christie, are you here?
Yeah.
There you are.
She is, she's here behind Katie.
I was hiding out on the second row. Thanks for having me. Missed you guys last month when I was in Tampa at a conference for data. The Chamber of Commerce is doing really well right now. We just hosted last month here at Town Center our first ever business education summit, which was an all-day marketing summit for members and community members, business owners, to really do a deep dive into some marketing strategies to help their small businesses. This month, next week, I'll be at the legislature talking with our representatives and senators, advocating for some of the things that we need in our area, but I'll also be talking with them about the tourism bill that is also sitting in the Rules Committee, ignored. But upcoming this month, we will be at WKYK on the 15th for a business after hours at the radio station. And then on the 19th, we will host our annual chamber member luncheon. And then on the 22nd, we're going to do another education breakfast. So got stuff going on in the chamber. And then today I spent all day with a team from Visit NC, helping them get footage and photos so that they're going to spotlight Yancey County and Burnsville on their social media for a weekend. And if you happen to have seen it, we have an Explore Burnsville billboard on the highway coming back from the airport, right around the Haywood exit. So just keep doing good, and all of the information I've got right now shows that although spending is down in retail, our occupancies are still just as high. They're just spending their dollars at Ingles Grocery Store right now. So questions on tourism at the Chamber of Commerce? I would love to have you all at any and all of my events. So have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. We got anything on economic development?
Not
really.
yet, not
Okay.
yet. I do have, had a conversation with, Pat Mitchell, who's the dean of the MPA School at Appalachian, the Masters in Public Administration. And she is on vacation, but she and I are gonna set up a face-to-face meeting, probably with John Ray as well, and talk about if there are any of her graduate candidates that might be interested. And we're also looking at different funding sources. So there's still work ongoing, but
Okay. And we do not have a closed session. Next town council meeting will be July the 6th. And do I hear a motion to adjourn? Second? Okay.
We
All
can't
in
believe this
favor?
early, Russell, will never be the same.
should have made him zoom in.